You're thinking about moving to Minnesota and you're wondering where to live? Well, in this video, we're gonna talk about some of the best places to live that are most popular around the Twin Cities. This is an article put out by Redfin of which cities are growing the most, frankly, because people love living there. So if we haven't met, my name is Joe Carmack. This channel is all about living in Minnesota, exactly like it sounds. So I'm your local real estate connection. If you have any questions, I've actually got 6 clients pending right now that found me from YouTube. So I would love to help you next as well. And you can find all my info in the description down below. So let's get into our top 10 list. Number 10 on the list is Edina, Minnesota. Now, this one I'm gonna give you with each cities, we're gonna talk about 2 words, and with Edina, it's gotta be affluent and educated. So here's what I'm talking about. This city grew by about 3%. It's currently at 53,000 people that live there. But what's interesting is 72% of the population is considered educated with either a bachelor's, master's, or beyond as far as education goes. So that's a huge increase compared to the national average, which is only like 33%. So twice as many people are educated, which definitely has this as one of our most affluent cities around the Twin Cities. You're gonna see what schools and crime look like in a second, but let's start off with income. The median income in Edina is currently $115,000, and the average home price, you're not going to be surprised to know, is $580,000, which is well above the Twin Cities median. Now, I'm recording this in April 2023, and the median home around the Twin Cities in general is only $365,000. So this is almost double the average for the Twin Cities. With that, as you would imagine, is going to come a ton of high-end shoppings, really, really nice schools, and a lot of luxury amenities. So if that's important to you, Edina could be a great place to live. Crime stats, they come in at a B rating according to niche.com, and schools A+ rating, definitely some of the highest rated schools around the Twin Cities. Now, I'm gonna give you also with each one of these cities some of my own personal pros and cons as a local to kind of help you decide whether it's a great place for you to call home. For pros, I'm giving Edina schools, definitely the highest rated schools. There's also a ton of golfing and luxury. So again, if you're looking for the higher end boutique stores, Louis Vuitton, Coach, those types of stores, Edina can be a great option for you. And it's also really close to Minneapolis. And so if commuting into Minneapolis or to the airport's important, Edina could be a great option. But Edina's also got some cons. And on my list, I'm gonna say the commute. Now, I know I just said that it's a close commute. However, it is kind of in a part of the metro where there's a ton of traffic with 62, which is the highway going east and west to the airport. You also kind of got 35, you've got 100 and 394, and all of those are kind of just a little bit of a pain, especially 494 to the south. I hate having to drive 494 in rush hour. So it is close, but depending on where you're at within the city of Edina, prepare for a longer commute. Of course, prices are gonna be just generally higher there, so if you don't have the budget, basically everybody calls wanting to know where the best school districts are in Minnesota. The problem is a lot of times people can't afford them or don't want to pay that price. So prices is going to be a big negative. Number 9 on the list is Eagan, Minnesota. Now, this one also grew by about 3%, and the population is currently 69,000. This is towards the southeast side, right below St. Paul. So if you're looking to go into St. Paul, Eagan could be a great option for you. 2 words I would use to describe Eagan would be outdoors and Vikings. Now, outdoors because there's a lot of different nature trails around that area. If getting outside is important to you like it is to my family and I, this could be a great option living in Eagan. There's a Minnesota River that runs right through there, but you've also got Lebanon Hills and a couple of different big regional parks that are very popular in that area. So if that's important to you, Eagan can be a great option. And then second is Vikings, because that is where the Vikings training facility is at. And so some people will go over there, and it's just something you can't miss when you're driving through. The median income in Eagan is a touch higher than average at $98,000, but the home prices are only at $375,000. So it's actually not a terribly expensive area relative to having pretty good income and job opportunities there. Niche gives a C+ rating for crime and an A rating for their schools. So overall, it's gonna be something that I would say a little more affordable and has great outdoor opportunities. And as for cons, I don't really have any big negatives for Eagan. I don't know that a lot of people would think of it. It's kind of like that flyover city you sort of forget about sometimes, but I think it's a great place to live. Number 8 on our list is Burnsville, Minnesota. Now, this city grew by about 4% according to Redfin, and their population is just about 64,000. This one is also on the south side, but a little bit further south than Eagan. What was really funny when I looked this property up on niche.com is apparently they have a high ranking for stupid people. I don't even know where they come up with these things. I'm sorry, Burnsville people. I'm sure you're all very smart and educated. Despite that, I would definitely not say Burnsville is a bad area by any means. I just thought it was hilarious that somehow, however they come up with their rankings, stupid ranked high. And is that high or is that low compared? I don't know, but I've never seen that before. Two words I'd use to describe Burnsville is probably gonna be shopping and commute. Now, for shopping, the main reason is because you've got Burnsville Mall. So if shopping is important to you, but you wanna be a little bit further out in the suburbs, Burnsville is going to be a great area with 35W, all the different shopping along there, in addition to the mall for Burnsville. And then also as far as commute goes, it is a little bit further out. So if you're looking for a more rural lifestyle, but you've still got to travel up either to the airport or to downtowns, Burnsville could be a great option just simply because it's right on 35W. And so you've got a fairly direct commute to either downtown. The median income for Burnsville is $79,000. Median home price is $354,000. So this is another good one with reasonably affordable homes, but also a good income and job potential. Niche.com gives it a C+ rating for crime and an A- rating for schools. Number 7 on our list is Bloomington, Minnesota. Now this one's gonna be definitely known for shopping as well, similar to Burnsville. However, the reason is it's actually got the Mall of America. Obviously you've heard of that one. It's one of the biggest malls in the world, and I believe the biggest in the United States. It's a huge indoor shopping center. It's got like 4 stories, a huge amusement park inside of it. So that's a great destination. Maybe you're not gonna do your, back to school shopping there or something, but it's definitely like a cool staycation. You can take the kids, go ride some of the rides, do a little shopping, that sort of thing. It's more of like a day trip, vacation destination that people will go to versus just your everyday shopping. Bloomington's also known for great outdoor spaces. So you've got Highland Park, Anderson Lake, and the Minnesota River that goes straight through there. So if you're looking for great outdoor opportunities, in addition to places like Eagan, Bloomington can really be a great option. It's also pretty spread out. And so if you look on pretty much any side of Bloomington, you can find a lot of quick access to outdoor spaces. No major change for the income at $80,000 or for housing prices at $350. It's also got a C+ rating for crime, but it's got a B rating for schools. So we're gonna go slightly down in schools, and we're gonna talk about crime here in just a second. Some things that I would describe Bloomington as pros would be it's pretty affordable, and it's also a great option for the airport. So if you're looking to get to MSP Airport, Bloomington's gonna be a great option, maybe also with Richfield, which are right down there close to easy access for the airport. Some cons for it are gonna be that it's a little bit older of a city. I think a lot of the homes that I've seen in Bloomington are like 50s and 60s. You're gonna see more of the Rambler type of homes. There are some higher end, nicer areas, but I certainly wouldn't say Bloomington's gonna be luxury if that's the type of home that you're looking for. Number 6 on our list is Rochester, Minnesota. Now, this is one that I'm gonna point out just simply to say Rochester is way far south. So if you're looking to move to Minnesota, I only serve the Twin Cities and I only help with purchases. So if you're looking for rentals, I might be able to connect you. Or if you're looking in an area like Rochester or the north side of Minnesota, feel free to reach out even still, and I'm happy to connect you to an agent in an area that will serve you if it's not somewhere that I serve. But if you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Twin Cities, give me a call and you know my information is down below. Number 5 is Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. This is on the north side of the Twin Cities now, and I thought this was interesting. On niche.com for its residents, it marked caring and respectful as the qualities that define Brooklyn Park residents. So again, I have no idea how they come up with this information, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Word that I would describe Brooklyn Park is gonna be emerging. So this is one that is got some like lower end and older homes, but then it's also got some really nice higher end new construction. And so it's kind of emerging. This one's definitely seeing a lot of growth. It had 5% growth. This article was in 2021 they put out, and the population's at 84,000. So it's definitely booming. You've seen places like Topgolf and Hy-Vee go in, and it's definitely pulling towards the newer higher end. So Brooklyn Park's got a great, definitely diverse community there. 76,000 is gonna be the median income and only 331. So this is actually gonna be one of the more affordable options. Again, you can find some maybe older existing homes that are even more affordable than that. And then you can go up to easily $500,000 for some of the new construction. Now I wanna talk to you about crime. Now, Brooklyn Park was given a C rating according to niche.com, and we need to park on this for just a second. When you're looking at crime statistics, I want you to make sure that you're drilling into the exact city. If you're on a site like niche.com, I mean, I can't define what a good or bad neighborhood is for equal housing and other reasons. But if you look at a site like niche.com or Neighborhood Scout, for example, I want you to make sure that you're comparing it to the rest of the nation and you're looking at a broader lens. So with Brooklyn Park, for example, I believe this is the lowest on our list that we have today, and it's got a C rating. However, if you actually drill down on the number of crimes that are happening in a given category, there's going to be a bell curve, and it's actually better than a lot of the other averages for the various crimes. So if you're comparing it to any city around the Twin Cities, even though this is a lower ranked city for crime, it's actually still pretty darn good, or at the very least average for most categories compared to other cities around the nation. So even with a C rating, it's still a relatively safe neighborhood to live in, and you still got B-rated schools, so you can find something a lot more affordable, but with good average ratings for crime, and even above average ratings for schools. Number 4 on our list is Apple Valley. Now, this is a city that's grown by 6%, which is a pretty substantial increase when they only have 55,000, so it's not a huge suburb. This one's also down on our south side, so quite a few that are growing on the south side at a greater rate perhaps than the rest of the metro. Uneventful and friendly is how niche.com described their residents. I think that's pretty weird. Apple Valley is sort of uneventful, but there's actually quite a few things to do, especially for families. I think it's a great area, which I'll tell you in our pros. As far as the median income, we're at 91,000, but the average home is just 350. So you can actually find fairly affordable homes in here for a great income relative to some of the other cities. C+ rating for crime, A ratings for schools, and then some of those pros that I would say are, it's definitely a quieter suburbs. It's definitely a family-friendly area if you've got younger kids, perhaps. There's the Apple Valley Aquatic Center, there's the zoo, there's Lebanon Hills, there's tons of trails, there's a BMX park, and there's a number of those really cool things to do. So I wouldn't say that Apple Valley is a big destination for people necessarily, but there are quite a few little cooler things that people might forget about in Apple Valley. Rounding out our top 3, Blaine, Minnesota. Now this one's actually a super popular suburb. It seems especially lately on my channel, this is actually one of the most watched neighborhood tours that I do, which is always really surprising to me. Blaine is a great neighborhood. 2 ways I would describe it is going to be booming and diverse. I love Blaine because it really is booming, similar to Brooklyn Park, that there's a lot of new construction going on. There's a lot of interesting new home developments, both townhomes and single family. You've got high-end custom. You've got like villas that are a one-level thing that seniors are really loving. So there's a really diverse area, higher end, lower end, but overall it's a really great city to live in. 90,000 is the median income, 367 is the average price point, so only a touch higher than Apple Valley, but keeping the same great incomes. Niche gives Blaine a crime rating of C+. Their schools are at an A-, so overall above average for crime scores and well above average for their school districts there. And again, keeping that price point much lower. If you remember, Edina was at 580, Blaine at only 376 is a great option. Couple pros and cons that I'd give Blaine. Pros being the real estate. Like I said, it's very diverse. You can find a lot of different types of property. And it's also a very family-friendly area. There's got Blaine Beach, that whole park area. There's the National Sports Center, which has a ton of different events if you've got kids in different sports. Cons for Blaine, definitely gonna be traffic, I think is the number one thing that's on people's mind. People that live in Blaine do hate the traffic. It's primarily going up Highway 65, which is the main drag through the center of Blaine. I will say that they're pushing really hard right now in the legislature to get some funding to do overpasses and things to fix that problem. I don't know that I'd let that be a reason not to move to Blaine, but it's just one of those things to be aware of. If you're looking at Blaine, if you can push towards Highway 10 or if you can push towards 35W, the Radisson side off to the east, that may ease up the traffic situation. But overall, there's still a ton of shopping. There's tons of great areas. There's tons of outdoor area. So I'm a big fan of Blaine. Number 2 on our list, I'm not surprised at all, is Woodbury, Minnesota. This one's also been a really popular suburb. This one's gonna be over off to the east side past St. Paul there. Young and affluent are probably the 2 words I would use to describe it. Woodbury, partially because the homes there are just younger. The area is built out more like the early 2000s, maybe on average. Some that are gonna be in the 90s, but you don't really see a lot of the like 1950s and 60s ramblers that are affordable, but maybe don't get people real jazzed about. So Woodbury is a great option, both for resales and for new construction. The median income there is 114,000, so it's definitely a little more affluent. But then you've also got homes that are at 455. So even though homes are more expensive, people are also making a lot more money, and it's not nearly as high end as like an Edina, Eden Prairie, or Wayzata. Similar to Blaine, you've got a C+ rating for crime and you've got an A- rated for schools. So above average on both and more great schools there as well. Pros and cons for Woodbury. It's definitely newer real estate. If you're looking for 2 stories, this is a great spot to find it. If you don't want the ramblers, Woodbury can be a great option. It's also going to be really close to St. Paul. So we don't talk a lot about St. Paul because Minneapolis is just kind of bigger and maybe has a higher demand. But if you're looking to go commuting to St. Paul, or if you've got family over in Wisconsin or something, Woodbury is a great option that's over towards the east side of the metro. Cons for Woodbury, primarily it's just gonna be that it's more expensive. There are still some of the higher end shopping high-end areas, but I wouldn't say that Woodbury is really considered a luxury area, but it's a little bit of a sleeper, and so with that, the price has gone up, and so I think it's just a touch more expensive than the rest of the metro. And the #1 fastest growing city around the Twin Cities is Lakeville, Minnesota. Now, Lakeville is a great area. This is definitely far to the south side, so this is really gonna be the breaking point between being sort of in a suburb and getting a really rural property. So with this area, you're gonna find newer construction, younger homes like Woodbury. Median income is at 119, so very similar, and the price point is at 480. That's not necessarily gonna be because it's a really high-end area, but just because you're gonna find overall more new construction and fewer older existing homes. Crime rating there is only a B+, which is fantastic, and then schools are also at an A+ rating, so overall it's actually gonna rank a little bit higher for both of those compared to other cities. And that's it. That's your top 10 list for fastest growing cities. If you're moving to Minnesota, I would love to connect with you as well. So find all my contact info down below. Make sure to subscribe, and here's some more great content.